All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another video on Inspire Studio. So as you can see here on my screen, this is what we're gonna do in this video. I'm just gonna show you how we can use some simple tools to create some complex shapes like this, and I'll also run through some methods to create a very um, like a very unconventional rendering in terms of the look and feel, and also very light in terms of material usage. So let's get right into it. I've saved this file, but I'm going to start with a new file anyway. So I'm going to first remove the IR, interactive rendering, because if you keep it on and you open another file, it'll just stay on. So I'm just going to hit 2 on my keyboard to come to the shaded mode. And now I'm just going to go to File, New. So you can use this one here. And I'm in File, New. Okay, so how do we begin? Well, it's pretty straightforward. Let's go to Curves and we'll select a freeform circle. And as I was saying earlier, I'm just going to use Alt 2 to snap here and draw a circle. 8 is fine. Let me increase the time of this this keycaster. Okay, so anyway, this is not going to work. So just look at this small window here to see which hotkeys I'm pressing. This is Shift, and this is Option or Alt. This is Control, and of course this is Command. Okay. All right. So now that we have this one, this is going to be our base circle, and I'm going to show you how you can quickly create a surface out of these things. So I'm going to make a Control C and Control V to copy it. Just maybe move about 2 centimeters up, double click again, and increase it. I'm just going to do it with some random values. Okay, so I have this 10 centimeter circle here. You can copy paste the same one or just do another copy paste. So I'll move it up here. And now for this circle, I want a different shape. So what I'm going to do is when I double click, I have an option to change the type of the circle. I'm going to change from exact to degree 3 or 5 if you want some more options. So here for the number of points, I'll change it to 16. So when you're in the exact type, the points don't have much effect, but it does when you're in a degree 3 or 5. So with this here, I want to select some alternate points and scale it. So I'm going to hold on Control, just box select some of these, and I'm going to move this out so I can quickly box select. Okay, so all the alternate points are selected. I'm going to turn off my snaps for a minute, so I'm disabling snaps, and I'm also turning off grid snaps. Now with these points selected, just select the move tool, and now I want to go into scale. So I hit scale, and I'm going to just scale these points inside. So I can use this plane scale, which is be scaling on both X and Y together. So when I do this, I get this result, or if I go out, I get this result. So let me move in for 0.25, and I can also increase the diameter of the circle once I'm out of the scale tool to something like this. Okay, so right click swipe to get out. Now I have this and I need to start building, and do Control C, Control V again, move it up. And now I don't want to keep this shape anymore, so I can double click, select everything, and say unedit selected. Even though the outer points weren't edited, I'll just click unedit selected. And I'm going to reduce the points here and also reduce the diameter of the circle. Okay, so now we are here. Now I'm going to do another copy paste, creating the bottle shape. So just going to create surfaces out of this soon. So this is my last circle, and this will be maybe about 3.5 centimeters. Okay, so there I have it. I have all the circles that I need to create the shape. Actually, I'm going to use a loft now. So right click, alt right click, and select the loft. So you can just start from the top or from the bottom, doesn't matter. So I'm just going to select one by one like this. Okay, so I've selected everything, and it's going to continue and create a curvature continuous shape around this. So this is my last opening here. I'm going to just right click swipe to there are no rails, only profiles. So once you do that, you can just exit. Now to close this part, of course, it's not going to be a flat bottom. We need some other shape. So how can we do that? I'm going to copy this circle again. So select the circle, Command C, Command V. I will keep that in place, but I'll just double click to edit it and reduce the size like so, maybe 4.5. And one last circle I need, so I'm going to Command V, Command C, this one. I'm going to move it up by about -1. Right click swipe and then double click and make it like 2. Okay, so basically this surface is going to come down and go up into this. So let's build another loft here. Let's go to modify, I'm sorry, not modify, surfaces, loft, and you can start here or here, doesn't matter. So let's start from the inside, come out, and then when you come here, you will get a coincident drop-down list, but you want to select the loft and not the circle because loft is a surface and you want the surface here. So you're going to select that. You finished selecting the profile, so you can right click, and you don't have any rails, so right click again. Now we need to add some continuity to this edge, so I'm just going to do a right click once, left click outside, and then select this again and change it to a curvature. So now we get this nice curve, and then it goes back in. So here it's open. We can cap this by using caps. So when I cap it, what will happen is it's going to add caps to both the openings. So when I hit 1 on the keyboard, you can see that there are 2 caps, one on the top, one on the bottom. So you don't want this cap, so you can click on the graphic here to remove it, and the cap will only be added to the top. So to make sure that you actually did what you thought you would, let's do a cross section. So I'll do a section cut, and okay, so first I need to select a plane. So I'll do a plane 1. It'll anyway cut everything. So you can see here that basically there is no cap, and it's a pretty decent surface. Okay, so you can turn it off and get out of this tool. And let's focus our attention to the top here. So I'm going to select the circle and hit F on the keyboard to fit. And we'll use an extrusion here on the edge, on the circle, not the loft edge. So we're creating the neck. So about 2.5 is fine. This doesn't have any caps, so you can click this green check mark. Now we know that the circle here is about 3.5, so we can create the grooves later. So we'll just remember that that's 3.5. I actually want to write it down somewhere, so I'm going to just write it here. Okay, so I'm looking at it from the wrong side. Okay, so I'm just writing it down here so that I don't forget it. So this is a surface, this is a surface. We need to just merge them into one. So I'm going to go into modify and select combine. So the combine basically stitches any edges, but it won't heal it. If there's an opening, it's open. So you need to pay attention to that. So I'm going to select all of these, hit right click to confirm, and hit the green check mark to finish it. So I have this surface now, and when I run an analysis on it, it should show me that only the top is open. So let's select this, go to analysis and select tolerance check. So it's going to say open along one edge. So the combine does what you expect if the edges are continuous, at least position. Now we can give this a thickness. So let's go to modify again and choose the offset and select this. So about 0.15 is fine, and I'm going to flip it inside by using the invert, and then I'm going to add thickening so it covers this, and I hit the green check mark. Now, whenever I do an offset with thickening, always run another analysis on it just to be sure. So I'm going to select tolerance check, close solid. Great, let's move on. So now to do the final, the groove on the neck, what we're going to do is we're going to create a helix and then sweep a circle around it. So let's go to curves and select the helix tool. Let's go to the top view, and here I want to snap it to the global 0, right? So I'm going to turn on Alt 2, snap it here, and just draw a 4 centimeter helix. It's fine, and then you can always edit it. Hit 1 on the keyboard so that you can see it. Just drop it here because we're going to edit it. Right click, swipe to get out of it, and move it up. So let's go to the front view and see where it is. So we can just move it. If it's snapping, so you can hold Alt, or you can even disable the snap by toggling it again. So I'm going to move it down. Okay, and now I can edit the size of this helix, right? So we know that the diameter is 3.5, and we also can, sorry, so let me get out of that, click outside, then hit 2 so that I'm in the shaded mode, and this is the height. I'm not changing the pitch except the height, so I'm going to bring the height somewhere here just below that lip, and now I can increase the pitch or decrease it. So I'm going to do 1.25. Let's do 1. Okay, so here I am. I'm pretty happy with this. I'm going to select the green check mark, and now we need to sweep something around it, and we just need a simple circle for it. So you can draw a circle anywhere here. Let's make it 0.25, or let's try it from 0.25. You can always change it, and go to surfaces and select the sweep. Your profile is going to be this circle. Right click, and your path is going to be this helix. By default, the sweep happens outside, as you can see here, and when you turn on auto alignment, it brings it to the path. So I have this. I'm going to cap it both ends, and I'm not very happy with the size, so I'm going to go to the helix and edit it. The way you can edit something in construction tree is select it and look at it here. Before we do that, let's save it. Let's hit save and just try model new. Now what I was saying, yeah, so select the helix here and double click. Now you can reduce the heights a little bit. Okay, and you can also move it up if you want to. For that, you will have to get out of the tool, hit W on the keyboard, just select the stop arrow and move it up by 0.1 or 0.2. So you can just figure out whether you're happy with the outcome. So I'm fine with that. This might be, yeah, so you want to take care of places like this because there might be some intersection with another surface. So you might still want to move the helix up slightly. This is just to be cautious about any intersections that will cause trouble later on. I want this to be inside the surface. Okay, so before I do the next part, I want to add a round to this edge here. It's obviously going to fail because it's too big. I will do 0.1 and then select the next edge, click OK. So we have this here. Now we can Boolean Union these two together. So before I do that, let me add a round to this edge here, maybe also on the inside. So you want to do it here. Okay, and now we can do a Boolean Union. Let's go to modify, Boolean Union, select the bottle, select this, right click, swipe. So now this is a single body and I can add another radius. Oops, not here. So if you select the wrong surface, you can just redo it and select this edge because this is the one you want. And here, even if it goes flows out, we have flow control. You can reduce it if you want. So this is something that I'm okay with right now. Right, so here it is. And the cool thing now is you can actually try something with these objects. So I'm going to hide the curves with Q and save it before I try something. So let's go to deform and do a twist. I'm going to select twist and select it and apply a twist to the middle of this body. So you can see here it's giving me a 360-degree twist all the way through. If I look at it from the right view, I don't want it. I want it from maybe this point. So I'm going to pull down the top arrow. Since it's trying to do this in real time, it's going to be slightly slower and pull it like this. Okay, so once you're done, you'll see the wheel for a second or two. Just let it do its job. And now I'm very happy with the result. So I have this outcome. And since we gave a hard boundary for the twist, you can see there's a clear line here. So if you didn't give that, you would not see the line. So now comes the part where we'll just create a very quick render of this. Before I do that, I'm going to save it again. And I want to create a couple of different copies of this. So if this is my view, I want 2 or 3 bottles. So what I'm going to do is select this, go to rendering, and let's do a duplicate of this. So sorry, go to modify and do a duplicate of this. So automatically the manipulator comes up. We'll move it somewhere, rotate it. Okay, and I'll do another duplicate of this. It's going to take a second. So we'll move it back further, move it somewhat here, and try to give a different look, something like this. So now to get the tumble of your camera, you want to use a middle mouse button, which is also obviously doing something else on my Mac. So I'm holding shift and my middle mouse button and I'm able to tumble. So I'm going to tumble it a little bit until I get a good view. Something like this. Okay, so I'm zoom out a little bit. And I want to give a perspective to this. So right now, if I go to rendering and click on camera rendering, I'll go to the properties here. So here, when I go to my camera, I can change my focal length. So I want a drastic focal length. So I'm going to give 34 and zoom in. Okay, I'm going to put it here. I'm happy with this. Maybe also give a different size of the image. And now I can apply material. So let's go to the material library. Quickly reduce the size of these thumbnails by using this slider here. And I'm going to, you can either use one of these glass or transparent materials, but you can create your own. So there's some transparent here, but I like to make my own. So I'm going to go to material, select the object first, click on material, and click on this plus. So go to full and select a transparent and also change the preset to plastic. Okay, so this is my first plastic. I'm going to change this to a light blue. Okay, now let's leave it at that and hit 6 on the keyboard and it should show me something. I'll change the camera slightly, maybe zoom out a little bit. Okay, so obviously we can see that there is a finite dome here and there is a how do you say, ground plane. So we can change that. Let's go to environment. We'll remove this finite dome to an infinite sphere, and that should remove everything. And now we need to assign some materials to this. So it will probably not be exactly like I showed you in the beginning, the other file. So just bear with me on that. Now let's go to the material tab here. I want to select this, and you can see that it's applied a material. So let me just change it. You can rename the material by double clicking on it. Select the object and just say blue. Okay, so this is blue basically. And then what I do is I right click on the material and say clone. So what clone does, it creates a copy of that material without an object. So you can, it's an exact replica that you can assign to another object. So I can say select this bottle, which is obviously doesn't have any material, and I can say apply assign material and say blue, which is the new material. Okay, so this is, I'll double click on the blue, select the object and say actually this is green, and change the color to green. Okay, and the last one we'll do yellow. So obviously we're going to clone this green. So right click, clone. So make sure your object is selected, and then right click and say clone material, and select this object and right click, apply the green. So my mouse was really driving me crazy with the middle mouse button not working. I had to close the application just to be sure. So I just changed it from show desktop. I think it was in Spotlight. Yeah. So I changed it to button 3. So make sure that you can do this if this is the problem in you. So now I can just use middle mouse the way it's supposed to work. So if I use it without shift, it just does a world tumble. If I hold shift, it'll do a local tumble. So now I have this, everything is set. I'm okay with the environment. You can always change it by going here and selecting some other file that you want. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to show you where it is. So you can go here to the environment and select something else. Okay, so feel free to do that. And as you can see, the image is raising up slowly, but then you can just render it out. Once you're happy with this, you can just just click on render image, and it's going to render it with in the darkroom. So yeah, so that's how we created this. Here you can see the darkroom. It's going to do 500 samples, so it's going to do sample by sample. And in some videos, subsequent videos, I'll show you darkroom and how to operate. But here, if I click the I button, I can see the information on what's the resolution and what's the engine I'm using. Since I'm on a Mac, it's probably going to be super slow because we don't have any NVIDIA cards support. So it's just using basically just a CPU power right now. Okay, so I'm going to stop this right now because this is fine. And to export the image, you just select save and then you select the image. Okay, so hopefully you enjoyed this tutorial. I'll add some more going forward, and feel free to subscribe so that you know when I put out the next one. All right, take care.